that windshield replaced?
Yeah, the claim is going. Oh, weird. Do you have unleaded premium gasoline in this?
Yes.
Excellent. Oh. Oh. Is that oil up to temperature?
Yes.
That's really as hot as it gets?
No, it'll go up a little bit more, but it won't take long since it warmed up on the way here.
Wow, your temperature gauge sits in like regular E30 position. That hits the console. Weird. Ooh, it's got a magic fingers.
Yep.
Do the magic fingers still work?
I believe so.
Nice.
Tested it out in a while.
Is that just for the fader? I can't remember.
Fader, and then you adjust bass and stuff.
Ooh, I assume you have the bass cranked for all the rap music.
No, I do not want to blow out these shitty speakers.
Well, welcome to yet another voiceover segment. I was running into storage issues on my phone as I was recording POV driving John's S14 M3, so unfortunately I lost an awful lot of the footage. So, anyway, I'm going to splice in some footage of an upcoming upload I will have here on my S54 M3, just from some river road driving. This is all dash cam footage, so it's nothing super special anyway. But I digress. At least it's a red M3 on some roads, so you have something to look at while you listen to me yammer. Thoughts on the S14 Powered Car. It really doesn't feel that much lighter in the front end. I was expecting an engine that weighs more than 200 pounds less in the front to really drastically change the steering and suspension feel of the car. John and I both have stock steering racks. We both have power steering, although the boost is probably a little bit different between the S54's Luke LF30 pump and the Vickers pump on his S14. But again, the front end, that really surprised me, because back in the day when everyone started swapping these things, that was always the biggest concern that I heard about. It was, oh, it ruins the dynamics of the car, having a swap motor in it, and it doesn't seem to. I drove both these cars basically back-to-back that same day, and I really didn't come away thinking that, wow, one feels super light, or wow, one feels super heavy. We both have the same exact wheels, same exact tires. We both have Bilstein Sport shocks and H&R race springs, so it's a pretty accurate double blind, I think. I've actually never seen somebody compare the S54, or I guess 52 even, it's the same weight, and the S14 back-to-back before in the E30 M3 chassis. So the Getrag 265 is a very, very, very notchy box. You have to put a lot of effort into it, especially on the 3-2 downshift. That could just be John's transmission, but his car is pretty low miles and not really abused, so I do feel like that's actually the nature of that transmission. Even quite a bit stiffer than the ZF 320 that's in my car, and that is known to be a pretty notchy transmission. I comment a little bit later in this video that I'd be curious to drive an S14 with the 84 and 85 318i E30 transmission on it. I think that actually would bolt right up because the M10 and the S14 share a bell housing, and that transmission shifts really lovely. And a power delivery like the S14, I don't think it would break that transmission. On the same vein, I think it would be fun to drive the S54 with like a Getrag 250, even though I don't think it would survive power handling wise, just because it does shift a little bit nicer. As far as the braking performance, I mean, both of our cars have stock brakes. He still has a vacuum assist, dual circuit master. I have manual brakes in my car, so that's not really comparable. However, they felt roughly equivalent. The noise, I really can't get behind a 4-cylinder all that much. It really kind of sounds like a stock K24 A3. I do like the sound of it up in the revs. You'll see later on in the video I do a pull in the car, and redlining it at the US red line of 7,000 RPM. It does sound pretty good. With the carbon airbox, higher revving, and the 44mm throttle bodies, the S14 sounds excellent. But just driving around, the S54 is absolutely no comparison in my opinion. I mentioned the rebuild cost also on the S14. It would be really hard to really hoon one of those engines day in, day out, knowing that you could break something, even though they are very, very reliable on the whole. This car, John's car, has a 410 LSD, which is what they came with from the factory. I feel like it actually needs a little bit shorter differential. A 427, I believe, is the shortest gear ratio they offered for the E30, and his car could definitely benefit from that in my opinion. So I mentioned that, but it was surprisingly tall. I have a 332 or something in my S54 powered car with no overdrive, and it is significantly shorter overall. So other than that, his car is definitely more comfortable. It's better sorted, doesn't rattle or anything like that, so it's not really an accurate double blind there, but very tossable. The engine is very linear. It was not peaky at all. I really did expect it to be peaky, just kind of having a racing heritage, but again, I'm going to make the K24 analogy, it drives a lot like a stock K24 A3. Just sounds a little bit better and revs a little bit higher, but it has excellent low-end torque. Mid-range punch is good. There's really no single portion of that power band that made me think that it needed more or less elsewhere. So it's a great engine. I respect it, but yeah, those are my thoughts, and unfortunately they got lost. So enjoy the rest.
Oh, you have your phone with you. Where'd you get this again?
Someone on Rev.
And that's an aftermarket part though, right? It's not OE?
Yep, for a aftermarket air conditioner that
Why is
would
this
blow.
not straight? We're gonna fix it for you. What's our average MPG? Oh, that actually works. Does this still have AC hardware in it or no?
Yes.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's bone dry. And then I took the belt off and didn't put it back on, since it gets in the way of the main belt.
Well,
Yes.
yep. Speed limit's 200. I suppose I should open the gate app now. If you ever find a 427 diff, you should buy one for this. I know they're super rare. It is fun though. I do still like it.
Got the burger approval.
Yeah, it's nice. I would never be able to hoon this engine like that every day and feel good about it. Because I know just how expensive all that shit is. But I'm really glad that these exist and are in most of the cars still. Because I understand that it's the reason why people like it and it's so expensive is because of its character and its racing history. It's not because it's a better engine than the S52 or S54. I'd be curious to see if anyone ever put an 84 and 85 318 Getrag 240 in one of these. The bell housing should be the same. That shifts much nicer. That's probably a lighter transmission too. But yeah, that's different than I expected. Still good though. And there's no turbo to let cool down.